Suicide.
وحدات الأعداء تسيطر على إحدى النقاط. وحدات الأعداء تتحرك. ظهر جنود الأعداء. فقدنا السيطرة على إحدى النقاط.
جاري البث الحي من الطائرة بدون سيار.
وحدات الأعداء تتحرك. تحركات للأعداء. هل تسمعوني؟ تصوير المسعف. قناص.
نفذ وقود الطائرة بدون سيار. انتهى البث.
تحركات للأعداء. فقدنا السيطرة على إحدى النقاط. الأعداء على
الطائرة
الأرض.
بدون سيار تعمل. بدأت البث.
جنود الأعداء على الأرض.
جنود الأعداء على الأرض. سريع للأعداء. ظهر جنود الأعداء. تم مسح المنطقة وهي تحت السيطرة. جنود الأعداء على الأرض. وحدات الأعداء تتحرك.
الطائرة بدون سيار تعمل. بدأت البث.
وحدات الأعداء تتحرك. شكرا أيها البطل. جنود الأعداء على الأرض. سريع للأعداء. وحدات الأعداء تتحرك. سريع للأعداء. جنود الأعداء على الأرض. تنفذ جنود الأعداء على الأرض. وحدات جنود الأعداء تتحرك.
جاري البث الحي من الطائرة بدون سيار.
سريع للأعداء. تحركات الأعداء. هل تسمعوني؟ شكرا. أقدر لك ذلك. شكرا أيها البطل. سريع للأعداء. أحضروا المسعف. جنود الأعداء. وحدات
البث الحي من الطائرة بدون سيار.
أدين لك بواحدة. فقدنا السيطرة على إحدى النقاط.
فليبدأ حصل.
شكرا. أدين لك بواحدة.
جاري البث الحي من الطائرة بدون سيار.
نحتاج إسعافات أولية فلتنتظر.
جنود الأعداء على الأرض. تحركات الأعداء. تسمعوني؟
الطائرة بدون سيار تعمل. بدأت البث.
سريع للأعداء. وحدات الأعداء. سريع للأعداء. ظهر جنود الأعداء. تحركات الأعداء. تم التعرف على سرية الأعداء. هل تسمعني؟ تم التعرف على سرية الأعداء. هل تسمعني؟ تم التعرف على سرية الأعداء. هل تسمعني؟
Clear!
All right, you're good to go.
Get first aid! Here!
UAV online and transmitting.
Hostiles on the ground. Enemy activity. Do you copy?
UAV transmitting on this mark.
First aid! Here!
Position cleared and under control.
First aid! Here!
Enemy forces over. Open front.
Get first aid! Here! Get first aid! Here!
All clear.
Get first aid!
Position under control. Out.
Get first aid! Here!
Move out. Attack here. Hostiles on the ground.
UAV online and transmitting.
Right here. First aid right here.
Enemy activity. Do you copy? Enemy forces over. Enemy forces over. We've lost control of an outpost. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over.
Blitz recharging!
Enemy troops identified. Do you copy?
First aid! Here!
Hostile forces spotted. Enemy forces over.
Frag grenade!
Enemy forces over.
Transmitting on this mark.
All clear. Supplies under control. Out.
Clear! All right!
Enemy units on the move. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy forces. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Hostile forces enemy spotted. Troops identified. Do you copy? Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Hostile infantry spotted. Over.
First aid! Here! First aid! Here! Get first aid!
Enemy troops identified. Do you copy?
Frag grenade!
Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Hostile sniper spotted. Over. Snipers on our perimeter.
Get first aid! Here! First aid! Here!
Move out. Attack here.
First aid!
Enemy forces. Over. Thanks. I owe you one.
Frag grenade! First aid! Here!
Supplies at your position.
UAV online and transmitting.
Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Over. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy?
Get first aid! Here! First aid!
Online and transmitting.
You're good to go! First aid! Here! Grenade!
Hostile forces spotted. Over.
Here!
Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Enemy forces. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over.
UAV transmitting on this mark.
Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Spotted. Enemy forces. Over.
All right, you're good to go.
Enemy forces. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy?
Transmission ended.
Enemy forces. Over. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Enemy forces. Hostile forces spotted. Over.
Transmitting on this mark.
Hostile forces spotted. Over. Outpost is being overrun. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Hostiles on the ground.
UAV online and transmitting.
Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Being overrun. Enemy forces. Enemy forces. Over. Enemy forces. Enemy forces. Enemy forces. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Position cleared and under control. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Enemy forces. Over. Enemy forces. Enemy forces. Over. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Medic! Medic!
Clear. Get first aid. Here.
Position cleared and under control.
Grenade.
Outpost is being overrun. Enemy forces. Over. Enemy forces. Over. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Hostile forces spotted. Over. Hostile forces. Enemy forces spotted. Over. Enemy forces. Enemy forces. Over. Hostiles on the ground. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Enemy forces. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Enemy forces. Hostile forces spotted. Hostile forces spotted. Over.
Get first aid. Here.
Enemy forces. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy troops. New commander reporting for duty. Position cleared and under enemy control. Forces spotted. Enemy forces enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces enemy spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Outpost is being overrun. Hostile forces spotted. Hostile forces spotted. Outpost is being overrun. Enemy spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy 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 infantry spotted. Enemy 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 infantry enemy forces spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy forces over. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Hostile forces. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy forces forces spotted.
UAV online and
Enemy troops identified. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy spotted. Enemy forces 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 over.
transmitting.
Enemy forces spotted. 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 Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Position under control. Enemy infantry spotted.
UAV online and transmitting.
Enemy forces spotted. 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 Medic.
أحضر الإسعافات. أحضر مزيدا من الذخيرة. نحتاج ذخيرة هنا.
Okay. Hostile force. Enemy force. Over.
UAV
Enemy forces spotted. Over. Position cleared. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy infantry 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 spotted.
transmission ending.
Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted.
UAV transmitting on this mark.
Enemy forces spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy forces 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 over. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Enemy forces spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted.
UAV transmitting on this mark.
Enemy infantry spotted. 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 Enemy forces spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted.
UAV transmitting.
Outpost enemy infantry spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Do you copy? Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy forces over on the ground. Enemy forces spotted.
Online and transmitting.
Enemy infantry spotted. infantry spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Sorry, Chief.
Transmitting on this mark.
Hostiles on the ground. Enemy infantry. Enemy infantry. Enemy infantry. Enemy infantry. Spotted. All enemy infantry. Enemy forces spotted. Over.
UAV is being low on fuel. Transmission ending.
Supplies at your position. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy forces infantry spotted. Over. Enemy forces infantry spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy infantry 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 spotted. Enemy infantry. Enemy forces spotted.
First aid.
Enemy forces spotted.
UAV transmitting on this mark.
Let's move.
Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Let's move.
Go! Move it!
Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Enemy forces spotted. Hostile infantry spotted. Over.
UAV online and transmitting.
Enemy infantry spotted. 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 Enemy forces spotted.
UAV transmitting on this mark.
Enemy infantry spotted. Let's move. Enemy forces, over.
Frag grenade.
Requesting ammunition, over. Enemy forces spotted.
UAV transmitting on this mark.
You got it. Enemy forces, over. Forces spotted, over. Enemy forces, over. Enemy forces, over. Enemy forces, over. Hostile forces spotted, over. Enemy forces spotted. Hostile forces spotted, over.
UAV online and
Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Let's move. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy infantry spotted.
UAV offline.
Position cleared and under control. Enemy infantry control of an outpost. Hostile forces spotted. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy forces. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy infantry spotted. Sorry. I'm bingo on ammo. Do you copy? Hostile enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Outpost being overrun.
UAV transmitting on this.
Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy forces spotted. All clear. Position under control. Out. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. All clear. Position under control. Out. Enemy forces over. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy forces. Hostile forces spotted. Over.
UAV online and transmitting.
Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted.
UAV transmitting on this mark.
Running dry. Enemy troops forces over. Do you copy? Supplies at your position. Enemy infantry spotted.
UAV.
Enemy forces over. Infantry spotted. Infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted.
UAV transmitting on this mark.
Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Let's move. Enemy infantry spotted.
UAV transmitting on this mark.
Medic! Medic! Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry. Enemy infantry spotted. 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 Enemy forces over. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Infantry spotted. Over. Enemy infantry spotted.
UAV online.
Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Enemy infantry spotted. Infantry spotted. Hostile forces spotted. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Enemy forces. Enemy forces. Over. Sorry, Chief. Sorry, Chief. Enemy medic.
UAV online and
forces spotted. Over. Enemy forces. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Medic!
UAV transmitting on this mark.
Clear! All right! You're good to go!
Hostile forces. Over. Enemy forces. Hostile forces spotted. Over. I owe you one. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy forces. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Enemy infantry spotted.
UAV online and transmitting.
Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted.
UAV online and transmitting.
Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Medic.
نحتاج إسعافات أولية. أحضر الإسعافات الأولية.
Enemy troops identified. Do you copy?
UAV transmitting on this mark.
Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Unit on the move. Roger that. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Hostile forces spotted. Over. Hostile infantry spotted. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Hostile forces spotted. Over. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Enemy forces spotted. Over. Requesting ammunition. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy forces. Over. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Do you copy? Enemy forces. Over. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Enemy forces. Over. Enemy troops identified. Being overrun. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Requesting ammunition. Over. All clear. Position under control. Out. Attack this position. Outpost is being overrun. Outpost is being overrun. Hostiles on the ground. Enemy forces, over. Medic! Medic!
All right. You're
Hey,
good to
thanks.
go. Frag grenade. Clear.
Hostile infantry spotted, over.
Grenade.
We've lost control of an outpost. Hostile forces spotted, over. Hostile forces spotted, forces spotted, over. Hostile infantry spotted, over. Hostile forces spotted, over.
Frag grenade. Frag grenade. Medic.
Let's move. Thanks. I owe you one. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy?
First aid.
Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Medic. All clear. Position under control.
Clear.
Out. Hey, thanks.
Now get back to the fight.
أحضر الإسعافات الأولية. أحضر الإسعافات الأولية. سقط. أحضر.
Requesting ammunition. Over.
Get first aid. Here. Get first aid. Here. First aid. Here.
Let's move. We've lost control of an outpost. All clear. Position under control. Out. Outpost is being overrun.
Thanks. I owe you one. Thanks. You got it.
Hostile forces spotted. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? All clear. Position under control. Out. Medic! Medic! Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy units. Hostile forces. Enemy forces. Over. Outpost is being overrun. Over. Enemy forces. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Enemy forces. Over. Enemy forces. Over. We're taking casualties. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Sniper! Enemy units on enemy forces. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Enemy forces. Over. Position cleared and our new commander is on duty.
UAV transmitting on this mark.
Hostile infantry spotted. Over. We've lost control of an outpost. Enemy forces. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy forces. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Medic. Medic.
Transmitting on this mark.
Medic. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted.
Grenade!
Enemy infantry spotted. Hostile enemy troops identified. Enemy spotted. Hostile enemy infantry spotted. Enemy forces. Over. Enemy forces. Over. Enemy forces. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Sorry. Enemy forces. Over. Sorry. Hostile forces. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Enemy units on the move. You copy? Enemy spotted. Medic to this position. Over. Enemy forces. Over. Enemy forces. Over. Hostile forces. Enemy forces. Over. All clear. Position under control. Out. Roger that. Enemy troops on the ground. Enemy forces spotted.
UAV online and transmitting.
Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Let's move. Enemy forces. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Medic.
Transmitting on this mark.
infantry spotted. Thanks. I owe you one. Position cleared and under control. Enemy forces over. Spotted. Over. Enemy forces over. We've lost control of an outpost. Hostile infantry spotted. Over.
Online and transferred.
First aid!
Sorry, my bad.
First aid!
Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted.
أحضر الإسعافات الأولية إلى هنا. أحضر مزيدا من الذخيرة إلى هنا.
Hostile forces spotted. Enemy forces over.
Online and transferred.
Hostile forces spotted. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Sorry. Sorry. My bad. Hostile forces spotted. Over.
UAV online and transferred.
Enemy forces spotted. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Medic to this position. Over. We're running low on reinforcements. Enemy sniper spotted. Requesting a medic. Over.
UAV transmitting on
Good deal, thanks.
Here!
Enemy forces spotted.
Get first aid! Here!
Enemy sniper spotted. Enemy sniper spotted. Enemy sniper spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted.
UAV transmitting on this mark.
Clear! Go left! First aid! Here! First aid! Here!
First aid
Ammo,
right here.
Ammo! Here!
Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy forces over.
UAV is low on fuel. Transmission ending.
Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Sniper spotted. Over.
UAV online and transmitting.
Enemy forces spotted. We've lost control of an outpost. Medic!
Clear!
Hold on. All right, you're medic.
UAV offline.
Clear! All right! You're good to go! Clear!
Sorry.
UAV online and transmitting.
spotted. Hey, thanks.
Get first aid! Here!
Enemy infantry spotted. Hit it! Let's move. Move out! Attack here! Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy infantry spotted. Over. We've lost control of an outpost. Infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. He does. Enemy infantry spotted.
UAV is
Enemy forces over.
transmission
Ammo! Here! Ammo! Here!
Position cleared and under control. Enemy medic spotted. Medic. Enemy unit. Hey, thanks.
Get ammo! Grenade! Get ammo! Get ammo! Here!
We've lost control of an outpost. We need ammo.
Get first aid! Here!
Hostile enemy troops identified. Enemy forces spotted. Outpost is being overrun. Hostile sniper spotted. Over. Thanks, champ. Medic.
Clear!
Medic.
All right!
Hey, thanks. Enemy infantry spotted. Hostile sniper spotted. Over. Medic. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted.
Frag grenade!
Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy forces over.
UAV
Enemy
online.
forces over. Thanks. I owe you one. Sorry. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy forces over. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Hostile enemy forces over. Enemy infantry spotted. No, sir. Hostile forces spotted. Over.
Clear!
Hostile forces spotted. Over. Hostile infantry spotted. Over. Enemy forces. Over.
Online and
Enemy infantry spotted. Hostile forces. Enemy forces. Hostile forces spotted. Over. We've lost control of an outpost. Enemy forces. Over. Hostile forces spotted. Over.
Get first aid! Grenade!
Medic.
transmitting on this mark.
Enemy forces spotted.
Clear! All right!
Hostile forces spotted. Over.
Live, buddy! Now get back to the fight! First aid! Here!
Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Medic. 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 forces spotted.
Get first aid! Here!
Enemy forces spotted.
Ammo! Here!
All clear.
Ammo!
Position under control. Out. Hostile forces snipers on the perimeter. Enemy forces. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Hostile infantry spotted. Over.
UAV is low on fuel. Transmission ending.
Enemy forces. Hostile infantry spotted. Over.
UAV
Hostile
online.
forces spotted. Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy forces. Enemy forces spotted. Stop yakking and get off this net. Stop yakking and get off this net. Position cleared and under control. Enemy forces. Enemy spotted. Spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Thanks. I owe you one. Enemy sniper spotted. Enemy spotted. Spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy spotted. Spotted. Enemy sniper spotted.
Clear!
All clear. Position under control. Out. Thanks, Cam. Attack this position. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted.
UAV offline.
Enemy forces spotted. Hostile forces spotted. Over.
UAV transmitting on this mark.
Hostile forces spotted. Over. Enemy forces. Over. Enemy troops identified. Do you copy? Outpost is being overrun.
UAV online and transmitting.
Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy forces spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy forces spotted.
UAV offline. UAV online and transmitting.
Enemy infantry spotted. Medic!
UAV online and transmitting.
Enemy infantry spotted. All clear. Position under control. Out. Supplies at your position.
UAV
Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted. Enemy infantry spotted.
UAV online and transmitting.
Hostile infantry spotted. Over.